Welcome back to episode 25 of the Backholder Pod. So as always, it's Eric, Bunty, Kelvin, and myself, Chiking. So we don't know that in such tumultuous times, everybody is just trying to seek for quote-unquote financial advice, but we like to say it's not financial advice. But we do know that there are many stock experts out there giving a whole host of different opinions, whether it's on Twitter or even in seminars on YouTube and stuff like that. So I think one of the core questions that we seek to answer, particularly in this video, is given the recent developments around the whole banking crisis and how the Fed is going to try to engineer something, whether is there a slow in rate hike, whether is there some sort of government bailout, and is this the time to buy or not? So basically, you just need to we are hovering around this idea of is this the time to buy because liquidity is coming into the picture. So I think before I even start off the discussion, I'll just share my screen. It's basically one of the most famous personalities out there in Singapore. I think he recently made a call. Basically, the most famous personality out here in Singapore, I think, is Chicken Genius. So I'm not too sure whether you guys have followed his Twitter, but I think he has made fairly interesting tweets over the last few days. Particularly so because you see, it's March 16. It's when the whole how the whole entire banking saga is unfolding in real time. So in March 16, he actually tweeted out, "Liquidity looks like it's spiking back up. China started injecting again. Fed opening liquidity channels to bail banks. So this is a short-term bull case. How long? I don't know. Position yourself. For me, all shorts or hedges are off the table since Monday when banks got bailed out." Then now he went on to talk about JP Morgan injecting around 2 trillion into the US banking system, and that's 20% of the balance sheet. And here we go again. And he did quote that it's a huge buy signal. Last but not least, I think this is the part where he made a YouTube video, and it's a pretty long YouTube video. I think it's around 9 minutes, explaining the relationship between the Fed injecting liquidity and how this liquidity is going to be translated into stock prices. And he's essentially saying that, hey, you guys can go long again. So as of yet, he said that this is his current positioning and sizing updates. It's essentially a barbell strategy. So long story short, for those of you who don't know what a barbell means, if you go to a gym, you see a barbell. It's basically two extreme point of views where one is a very safe asset, the other one is a highly risky or much more riskier bet. So in this case, his long Palantir and long ETH. ETH is Ethereum, and it's a 40% high beta, 60% in cash. So this is his current portfolio standing. And then now he followed up saying that when liquidity is injected in such numbers, you can't ignore it. 100% cash is not an option. So long term, I still believe interest rates will crush the economy, but they just kick the can down the road. How long? God knows. This is not 2020 money go burr anymore. Stay nimble. So I just wanted to get everybody's opinion. I'll stop share here. Maybe I'll just get Kelvin to start off his own opinion on what CG is currently doing. What do you think? Are you following Ken, or is this a buy call? And what's your own opinion of this buy call?
I'm not following him. No, in a way that I haven't been following him since a long time ago. So, but I agree with his view that the Fed balance sheet go up means liquidity go up means it will eventually translate to stock go up. Whether I don't think it's directly it's more like indirectly, where is the market trying to pricing in all the future movements . So that's why the market has been going up so much today. But we also have to see what the Fed is planning to do tomorrow on Thursday. Are they going to raise 0.25, 0.5, or 0? If it's 0, it's definitely rocket already. 0.25, I'm still neutral short term. So for now, I'm becoming a lot more bullish already because everyone become bullish. It's a market sentiment thing . It's not a fundamental thing anymore.
I follow the Bitcoin price movement quite closely every day . So I wake up, I look at the how the Bitcoin move, how Ethereum move. Basically Bitcoin, right? It tells me like how much liquidity the market has. Like when the Fed is tightening, right? You can see that the Bitcoin go into a long winter. Now they open the tap a bit, and all the bulls crawl out, like it's our turn now. So yeah, if you look at the chart, right? I know you all don't really subscribe to it, astrology and all that. But if you look at the chart, the next point, right, of resistance is actually very significant at 30K USD. So if it breaks this, right, wow, I think it will rocket all the way up . Yeah, that's my take.
Actually, I also got follow the Bitcoin chart. I noticed that it actually started going up even before this whole Fed thing happened. So it started pumping since last week. It feels like they are already pricing in that the Fed is going to pivot this week. So that's interesting.
They have insider info, ma.
Then are you buying Bitcoin, or are you still touching crypto at this current juncture?
No, lah, just holding it in my cold wallet, like everyone else.
Okay, understand. What about Bunty on the opinion on CG?
Actually, I'm just curious, like when you guys read through his like tweets and also his YouTube video, do you guys understand what he's saying? Like I personally find it very hard to follow. Like if you just follow the tweets just now, right? You read, it's like, okay, I'm stay out of it. Still bearish. Then now I'm bullish. Now pump. Now you should sell. Now you buy. You know, when it comes to video, also buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Like that. Do you guys first? You guys still following his what he's thinking? First question. Second question is that do you really understand what he's saying? For example, like the JP Morgan 2 trillion. What is that 2 trillion? Because the QE for so long already, for example, during the QE time, Fed pump in 80 billions per month. If you 80 billion times 12 is about 1 trillion. Now suddenly JP Morgan has 2 trillion to pump in. What is that? Do you guys understand those?
I think maybe I just share my own opinion on one, right? So let's not forget that I think some background and some context as well. So Ken is actually an options trader, and I think he did teach courses on options before. So he's a very good person to learn how to hedge. So I think his skill lies in the idea of hedging. Hedging meaning he will when he win, he will win, and then when he lose, he won't lose too much also. So this idea, I think if you apply it to most of his tweets or his commentaries, right, it's probably the same as well. So he's very good at hedging his positions, and I think there are times where he will. I mean, generally when I look at him now, like when he sold, he actually technically sold at quite a high price, like when he exited his whole position. And then now when he's buying, he's very good at cutting loss. He's very good at being very tight in his trades, right? So at least for now, I do have the impression. I don't have stats behind me yet, but I do have the impression that he wins more than he loses. So that's my impression on it. Then back to what Bunty, the two questions, right? Whether I really understand. I mean, that's why I'm generally the same as him. So I'm still slightly bearish of the economy and how the things is gonna break. As of now, the short term, I still don't have a position yet on whether I want to turn bullish or not. But I can kind of follow. If you treat it as a purely educational content, meaning this is what's gonna happen. This is the cost relation effect. Maybe I can get where it's coming from, trying to educate the public. But whether are there a lot of people following him that ultimately made money? I don't dare to comment. But personally, I don't follow him lah. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I think Kelvin has been a big follower, a big fan of CG since early days of 2020, right? Or like he's inspired by CG. So I don't know whether Kelvin understands what Chicken Genius has to say or
not. Sometimes I also don't really understand what he's trying to say. It's a bit like that. Who is that guy? The shorts guy. Michael Burry.
Oh, Michael
like
Burry,
the stuff
yeah.
that they tweet on Twitter is like second. It's like the god level kind of tweet lah. You don't really understand what they're trying to say. But I guess the TLDR, too long didn't read version of it is that CGS is bullish now. And I guess if you want to follow him, then you start buying in. But anyway, whether he's bullish or not, you should always buy in no matter what, right? That's always my plan, no matter what.
I think buy in decent companies lah. Don't buy. I mean, I still tell people don't touch penny stocks and very, very speculative ones lah. But I guess it's your money. You can do whatever you want with it lah. But anyway, I think Eric.
Sorry. Do I understand him?
To Bunty's 2 questions.
So his question was, do I understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand him.
Okay, I give another examples, right? So he said buy. How many % in cash?
60%
in cash. What does it mean? If my
it
position, right, if I listen
cash,
to him, if I listen to him, should I look at the 60%? Okay, buy means hold 60%. Then, but I'm close to 100%. So should I sell my equities to follow him, or should I buy even more to follow him? It's like, what does it mean?
Or it means that
What's the 60%
Actually,
for?
that's a
it
that's a
means
good
that you
question though.
haven't been following because
Because he
before that,
100% cash,
he was
right?
100% cash, ma. So if you're 100% in, you haven't been following.
No, if drop already, he's right. That's why he has the 60%, so never wrong.
Mhm.
Actually, I think the key question Bunti is trying to say is because I think even in academics, right, it's the same, right? You need to falsify an argument. There is no premise to falsify what CGS has to say. Because I think he never put a timeline. He also said that God knows when this is gonna stop. And he like I said, he hedged his position. So anyhow the market move, he will drop more, buy more.
Yeah,
Then
very,
if
very hard to make sense. To me, it's like you see, like you say falsify it, or you try to flip it around, right? He said buy, hold 60% cash. Now I'm saying that sell, hold 40% cash, or hold 60% equities, or whatever, right? So you see, I just come up with a statement that's opposite of his statement, right? So can you like understand what is my statement, and you just like, compare against his, and see these two positions, if you change already, right? Which one is bullish, which one is bearish? Very, very hard to make sense. At least that's my feel. And
No,
I
his
don't think
his premise is that you are in 100% cash, like him. So when you make an opposing statement, right, you say sell 60%, sell 40%
No.
cash, right?
I think if he says sell, he'll be 100% cash again. Like if he's bearish, right? Would it not be?
Bunti or
No, CG. Or maybe 80% cash or 90% cash. If he makes a sell call.
now?
Yeah, if he changes his mind again, if he says that he's bearish again.
Processing.
Does it not make sense?
No.
Actually, no. Okay. Maybe I'll reframe what I'm saying. I think to answer Bunti, right, the idea of whether he's bearish or bullish. I think that time when he was still bearish, he started like I think a starter position of like 300,000. But considering his entire net worth or his entire portfolio of investable assets, 300,000 is probably like, I don't know, less than 1% of his net worth. I don't know. I'm just throwing out numbers. So when he makes those kind of calls, I think to him it's just fun trades at the side. It's speculative bets to him. So it's not anything substantial. So when he start talking in percentage like 20, 30, 40%, means he's getting serious. And now at least from what he say, he allocate to Palantir and ETH. He's getting serious. He thinks that he's pretty bullish in the short term that these few names will pump. Yeah, I hope it answers. Because I have been following CG quite closely as well.
Yeah, and he also said that take some off the table.
Take some shots and hedge off the table, right?
No, not that part. He said take profit off ETH, I think. Because if you remember, he made a call to buy ETH like I think 1 month or something, or 5 weeks ago. He said I'm all in ETH or something, and something to that extent. Then he said, oh, now we can take some off the table because it has flown up quite a bit. Is it?
So not bullish, right? Because he's taking it off the table.
But now he bullish again because he long ETH and Palantir,
okay, I
right?
think I think just to tie up this entire discussion, because it's not really an analysis video on CG as a person, but the idea of whether is it time to buy, or even if you turn bullish, is it time to go all in or not? So after Bunti asked us all these questions, we made our opinions. I think I'll just throw it back to Bunti again. So what's your short-termness, your short-term view of the market outlook, and is it time to buy or start pumping the markets again?
I don't have market outlook one. I don't know things one. I'm clueless one. But when it comes to CG one, I would just say for those who try to like follow him, right? I would just say you just ask yourself whether you have make money following his trade. So if you make money following his trade and you are happy to follow, feel free to continue to do that. But be frank with yourself whether you make money follow him or not. That one, I think you need to be honest with yourself. So my guess is most people don't make money follow him. It's either like, is he bullish or bearish? Also, we can't make sense of it. You see, we debate all this, like, can't make sense of his statement. And by the time you see anything's wrong, right, you say, I saw already last week. What is that? Hey? It happened like many times already. Like you want to, he's like, shadow. So suddenly appear here, suddenly appear there, and then all over the place. Like take money off the market. Oh, buy. Wow, so fast, man. So okay, I mean, if you think you can react so fast, follow him in, and you have good result, feel free. But back to outlook, I have no answer. Over to you guys. Thanks.
Oh, then what's the question now?
There's no question. I saw you unmute. Then I talk. Then that's why I passed the time over to
I thought you wanted to ask me my outlook
No.
again. Okay.
I know your outlook already.
Okay, so what's my outlook?
Sorry?
So what's my outlook?
Your outlook, you are extremely bullish, but now you're not going to buy in because you have money set aside that you want to do something else. So you see, I already know you inside out already. I can be a financial advisor.
Wow, I set money aside, you also know. How much I set aside, do you know?
You want me to say in putting it onto YouTube?
Yeah, almost 700k, about 700k, right? You said
Don't.
cash.
Better don't
I
say.
think, oh, okay.
Less than Bunti. Just, that is enough.
But I think just to really answer the question on buying or not buying, right? I'm actually in the camp of what Kelvin said. Regardless of whether the market is bullish or bearish in the short term, you should still be accumulating assets because we know that most of you that are watching our videos, you guys are all still young, and you guys have a lot of earning power at least in the long term. So what you have now in the markets compared to your later years, it's probably going to be lesser because you'll be constantly accumulating money, and then there's compound interest. So don't be too caught up. Like all these personality stars, even like for us, Backholder Pod, whether you go on YouTube, you follow all the big stars out there, they keep buy, sell, say the market's gonna crash, the market's gonna be bullish, those kind of things, right? You consume for fun can really. At the end of the day, when the money comes in, channel back your brokerage account and start buying S&P 500 or whatever that you guys are happy. You want to accumulate what assets, that's up to you as well. So I think that's just my general comments or general take on it. So yeah, I think I don't know whether the rest have anything on to add.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing. If you want, you can follow. But just saying, if
Don't
you
follow.
him,
We don't dare to take. We don't dare to take. Or
but,
follow him.
but if you
Is
follow
this-
him, right? Back in
this-
January, you have missed the whole dip. Like when Tesla dropped to $100, then you have lost that whole 100% gain. So that's the risk of following someone. And if he is wrong, who are you going to blame except for yourself? So probably the easiest hedge is to just buy no matter what. It's always what they say. It's always what the comments say, that I'm boring whenever I say this. Yeah, but it's the proven strategy.
But also need to be careful. Look at what you're buying, right? Like you say bonds are safe, banks are safe. You put both these two together, it's not so safe.
Depends on the bank. Like if you buy DBS bonds, you'll probably be all right?
DBS.
I think no. The idea of this banks part, right? Like this, I mean, I personally haven't been a very big believer of private enterprise running banks because I would still think that they should be state linked or state owned. Because at the end of the day, it's a confidence business, and the only power that has monopoly over confidence is the government of the day because they get to do whatever they want to do. Assuming that, let's not talk about small countries that the government can default. If you talk about strong countries like Singapore, China, US, UK, those states have monopoly over power and confidence. They can do whatever they want, and they can support whoever they want to support as well. So if you buy those kind of companies that are linked or that are owned by those governments, then I honestly don't think that you will have a very big issue unless unless any black swan that happens.
Yeah.
Do you have a
So-
view on the USD, the strength of the dollar going forward? Nobody has a
In
view.
what ways?
Like
Appreciating,
because
depreciating.
they're now doing like something like QE, right? So I think the rational thing, logical thing will be the dollar should go down a little bit. Like stocks should go up some, dollar should go down some. So I don't know whether does that like offset each other.
But the crisis now, because confidence is getting shaken everywhere. Like Europe's got problem. China, I think, still haven't figured what they are going to do. So the flight to safety mentality, I think, is still there. So I think the USD will probably remain strong, but not because I know because of the rate hike, it has been escalating like nobody's business, and then now it's taking a breather, and then now with QE, it might go down again. But feels like I think this confidence thing, it's shaking a little bit, and I don't expect it to if like there's real QE, because at the end of the day, I don't think QE is going to come. Like they are not going to start plunging interest rate. They might hold it there. So I don't necessarily see the USD going down a lot, like to a large extent, anytime soon. That's my opinion. But I think I'm muted just now.
I'll comment on the USD one. So actually, if you look at USD, it has been so strong in the past one year or so. Right? I think the fight to safety isn't the biggest reason. I think the biggest reason is because US, they keep hiking rate. So it is a lot more attractive to put your saving into US because you can buy treasuries on top of the FX you actually gain from the interest rate, right? Like you get much higher yield in USD. So whenever a central bank high interest rate is good for their currency, but when they have to go reverse in terms of monetary policy, right, meaning that they have to cut the interest rate, their currency will drop. And usually it's the currency that will drop first before they make the cut. So it's very hard to say, okay, now they cut, hence you act. Usually it will be slow already. The currency is like stock market, they will act sooner. So that's the comment on USD first. I want to comment on just now, I think Chicken, you mentioned about like, okay, government has the monopoly of power, right? I think that's very China view. And I want to contrast.
I disagree. I think that's a very Singaporean
let me
view.
finish first. Let me finish first. I would say that this is very Chinese view because if you contrast that versus Western view, right? Actually, they don't have this view to say that government has the monopoly of power. They actually have all this, like judiciary should be independent, separated out. Hence, there's this trust not on the US government, but on the entire ecosystem and how this separation of power works. So it's very different contrast to in China, where China really just government has monopoly of power. Yeah. So I want to hear what you want to say on this.
I would say that I think at the end of the day, we are all very convinced that the system is very well run. It's a very well-oiled machine. It has stand through the test of time of 100, 200, 300 years, because that's the length and that's the period of the system that the US has managed to come out. But I still fundamentally believe that every system will come to fail, and like whatever your USD or what, if you go back down to the fundamentals of human beings, meaning we all want security, a sense of safety, that kind of thing, right? At the end of the day, something will corrupt in itself and the system will fail. And that's why I say that we all need to kind of follow a particular, like it's an eventual outcome. I don't know when it will happen, but it will be an eventual outcome that somebody will rule everything, and then it will screw up everything, and then the whole system resets again, and we go through the whole thing. But on the idea of whether is it China or what, I think that it's also a very Singaporean way. It's like MAS is the same in finance specifically. They play a very fatherly role where they want to protect everybody. They think that you guys all need help. Like retail customers don't know how to do it. So they put in a lot of barriers. They put in a lot of things. They draw the boundaries, and then and in hopes that they want to protect the layman, like people that don't really know. So that's why my view is always the same. It's like even DBS or CBC, they are mostly state linked. They're not state owned. They're kind of joined by the hip with the government. The government's not going to let them fail, which is why there's so much confidence in the three banking system in Singapore. And if you buy bonds of them, I also don't think there's something they're going to pull something like whatever the Europe did to bond holders or to equity holders also. So that's why you have a peace of mind, and that's the idea. Why I even had that view in the first place was also because the banking industry or the sector itself is a highly leveraged sector. So it's very dangerous. And if you let, like, it's a very, I've forgotten what's that term called. Like, if it's a very live or let it be kind of idea, right? Then it's very dangerous because you have bad actors, you have people that screw up. And then you thought that, hey, I thought the banking system or the banking regulation is very strong. Then evidently it's not. Like, you can have bad actors that play around and get screwed. So that's why I still think that in at least in the bank. But private enterprises, innovation, tech, yes, please be more innovative and let y'all do whatever you need.
But even if it's with the government, they can still make mistakes that what is that called? As Silicon Valley Bank did, right? There's still a small chance that they could make this mistake. Yeah, so I don't think that like government is not free from making mistakes. In fact, if it was the government making that mistake, right, I think the repercussions would be even bigger than just a private company making a mistake. Because in this case, the government can say that, oh, I come in to save you guys. But if it's the government, then who is going to come and save us, guys? So I feel like it's better to decouple banks from the governments.
That's the thing, right? I think if in US or in Western country, government, if they do something, they didn't respect your rights, right? So they cannot just simply come in and say, I take your stuff. Actually, as a as a citizen or as a like a private institution, they can sue the government. And there are plenty of cases where, you know, they sue the government and they won the case. But I think these situations so far in US, in Western countries, is quite common. But it's not every country having the same way of operating model. I'm not saying that which one is superior. It's just that you play the game in that country, you have to know the rules. And it's very different. It's like when you say only government has the monopoly of power, I don't think that is the case for US. And I don't think that is the reason why US is strong. They are strong because of the respect on all these private institutions and so on. So it's
So
different.
You don't think China is strong?
As in I'm
Because
saying
I'm
their
flipping the
operating
argument
model
myself,
is
right?
different. Their operating model is
Okay.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I completely agree, by the way. And I would be wary also to assume that the government cannot. You think that the government cannot do what they can do. Like you are operating in this assumption that they cannot do, like they cannot do some things, like they cannot take away your rights and cannot take away properties and stuff. I think in early 1900s they did take away all the gold and whatever from, like in the US, by the way, like they sign an executive order.
Chicken.
Yeah.
They cannot take away your rights if you have no rights.
That's a debate for, I mean, that's a debate for another day. But I'm just saying that because we are now under the very broad-based blanket assumption that you think this is the system that we're operating in. But when time comes, meaning when it's chaotic, when there's war, it's just a whole, like basically F show lah. They can do whatever they want. I'm just saying that yeah, for a tail end risk, but we are not experiencing it now. So that's why we can see that the system is air quotes functioning properly. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so
yeah,
we do we have rights?
Yes,
what
of
are
course.
rights? What are rights? Can I ask you what are rights? How do you define rights?
It's like I ask you, how many genders are there? What is gender?
Yeah, exactly. What is so we need to, if you want to have a fruitful discussion, you need to be more accurate in your expression now, because everyone have different opinions on different words.
Okay.
Right.
So right.
Right.
So rights are like the things that by right belong to you, and the government should have no right to take that thing that belongs to you. I think in the angle of our discussion, that was
okay.
That was the
Can, but I think there are instances in the past that, actually there are many instances in the past of tyrannical governments that take away rights, right? Take away things that you presume that you own. The US included, by the way. So what exactly are we talking about that you're talking about the government is functioning properly, or that they are respecting your right? They're respecting your right until they don't. That's my idea. And I think Buddhi is muted. So I saw his mouth.
I'm saying like in this case, you just look at the cases where, you know, if you are saying that government will always come to take away your rights and so on, right? You just look at the situation where really government step out of what they are legally to do, and they did it, and you see what was the reaction from the people, and you can see that when they sue the government, can they win or not? If you say, okay, following current, let's say, US system, and every time people sue the government, always fail, and you know that actually, even though you say on your mouth that you have the rights, actually you don't. So we have to, you know, we cannot look at the definition. We have to look at the actual situations, cases in the past, look at the experience, what has happened in the past, and to have a sense on whether how much right that you actually have. And all these things is not a fix. It will change over time. It change cases by cases, individual to individuals. It's just that generally speaking, I just want to point this out, not to debate for the sake of debate, like just to say that actually in US case, they don't have this concept of like government has the monopoly of power, because actually people have and private institutions have the rights. And that's why there's trust in there, because if you have money there, you actually have certain rights, right? You are protected in a sense. So I think at least given the current, most of the cases,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like to keep flipping around the argument again, right? So you think there is no trust in the Chinese system now, assuming
No,
that,
I didn't say that. Don't put.
I mean, that's
in my mouth.
That's the implicit.
I'm
that's
saying
the implicit
that
assumption, right?
No. That's not right. I think in Chinese case, right, is that you will respect the situation that in China, really the situation is that the government really has like the monopoly of power. I won't say that there's no cases that people sue government and then or they always lose. Like it's just that it's very rare to say that government lost in lawsuit or whatever and have to pay compensation. This situation is not common in China, meaning that judiciary and executive, everything, they're all like one party and one person make all the costs. And that's why is there a trust on this central counterparty, you know? So that's the you make your choice, I think. But you need to know the situation in each country.
Agreed.
One more comment on that, right? Doesn't mean that the model is superior also, because you know if you have everything centralized into one party, right, then you also fail at one party. So I think that's the centralized versus decentralized kind of arguments. And I would say it's not like one better than the other. It's just that in certain situations where the weakness where the weak points, right, is like are you okay with that weak points or not? Yeah.
I would just say like this right or not right thing. I think the term for that is called the social contract. So it's basically it's a contract between the government and you and us. So if we respect this contract, we will expect the government to respect the same contract. And one example of this was back in, I don't know, 2020, during the pandemic. In the US, there was this black guy called George Floyd. He was sort of killed by the police when the police kneeled over his neck. So after this whole incident, right, the blacks sort of rioted. They go and destroy the shops and whatever. And people were condemning the blacks. Well, why are you destroying the properties? Is it illegal or whatever? So I think then the argument is like, oh, since the police, the government don't respect our social contract, why should we respect the social contract of the government? So this is the same thing about rights or not rights. If you want to be a 好公民, a good citizen, then you expect the government to do the same thing. So I guess that's at least what is currently happening in Singapore. People are trying to make as much money as they can, and they hope that the government don't come and take away all that money through inflation, through GST. So in that sense, I guess we still have a right. We still have the right to work. We still have the right to pay tax, to own a house or whatever. So yeah, in short, I think we have a right as long as the government respects the right.
To sort of round off this today's, because I think we come one big circle, right? To buy or not to buy. So I think for me, yeah, I'm still also thinking of doing the barbell strategy, which is
you don't have originality.
No.
Why you copy people?
I'm not original at all. So I hold risky assets and I also hold like safe cash. So I think, yeah, that's for me to round up.
Okay, thanks everyone for listening in. Hope you guys enjoyed the discussion, and we'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.